Hello, MLH team. My name is Michael DeMarco, and today I'm going to be demoing VS Code puzzles. This is a little bit last minute. I just rolled out of bed. I thought the submission was way later than it is. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to be demoing. I did a solo hack for the past 24 hours, I guess. I'm a upcoming sophomore at UBC in Vancouver, Canada, but I'm actually from Edmonton. Yeah, I wanted to build a extension because I thought it was cool. I've been learning a lot of JavaScript recently. So I thought this would be a great hackathon to sort of build my skills in a really practical way. It's very accessible. You can publish and share your code with people instantly because everybody uses VS Code these days. So I wanted to make something for students to help with follow through when it comes to coding. So when I started to learn how to code, I would do a few problems from different websites. I would watch some tutorials sometimes, but I had a lot of issues with follow through. It's I don't know. I use websites like Reddit and found problems from them. So there's Learn Programming and Daily Programmer, and they would have problems, and they were sometimes useful. I would use websites like LeetCode, of course. There's one my high school teacher used called CodingBat, and of course there's really complicated ones like Project Euler. So I tried a bunch of different websites to mix results. I always found the inline editors a bit annoying, and transitioning from those online editors where it's a small text box to a real IDE was really awkward for me. I had a hard time learning where everything was, and I wished I could have done those online problems in the IDE environment to learn the IDE environment, even though they were super simple problems. So that's what I tried to build, was some way of sort of bringing in coding problems from online into your editor so you could practice solving them inside of your editor and get that kind of real world experience. So that's what I made. It's called VS Code Puzzles because I'm not very creative. And basically all you do is it adds a few commands to the command palette. So if I search in VS Code Puzzles, you'll see I have three options, one from Reddit, one from CodingBat, and one from Project Euler. Now I'm in a folder that I could have initialized as a Git repo, say I wanted to show my progress online. And so all I have to do is for every day, run the command. It'll take a sec, and then it'll generate two files. One will be a markdown file. Now, thankfully, with the markdown preview extension available in VS Code, I can hit Command-Shift-V, and then I'll get a really nice preview, and because it renders in HTML, of course. And then if I open the split screen view and then drag in my solution, then all of a sudden I can get to work basically immediately and without too much hassle. So yeah, it generates kind of a templated file. Right now there's only support for Python, which is a bit unfortunate, but in the future there's a roadmap to, of course, support pre-generated files from more languages to encourage people to do things like writing tests and just sort of getting the hello world version done right away in case people forget some of the basic syntax. So of course it works for Reddit. I'll just do a quick demo of, here's CodingBat, which is a website I use quite frequently, and we can do Project Euler. The Project Euler one. There's some HTML left in the file, but it's not a huge problem. It actually displays pretty nicely, so you can get some nice formatting and things and still do the nice split screen view from before. So that's a bit of an overview of the extension. Yeah, the biggest thing for me was coming at follow through for students. Making it was fairly straightforward. I did two things. So if we go to the actual folder for the source repo, I built the actual extension. And then I also built an API. I wanted to sort of abstract the logic. So there's basically an endpoint called puzzles. And when you hit that endpoint, you get either Reddit info, Project Euler info, or CodingBat info, sort of somewhat randomly for the latter two. Reddit, there's a new problem every day, so that's kind of guaranteed it'll be new. And then the extension itself, again, very simple, just contains all the needed information for running the commands, which isn't very much. So I was happy with how buildable the project was, I guess you could say. It just basically writes it to whatever folder you're in, not too tricky, and interacts with my API. Deploying the API on Heroku was a bit challenging, but nothing too bad. I've been using AWS recently, so it wasn't too different. And I definitely struggled a bit with using the file system, interacting with the file system, and getting used to this sort of VS Code API. It was sort of a weird concept to wrap my head around, but once I sort of understood how you can use this VS Code object, then it made a lot of sense. I also had never used TypeScript before, and it said you should probably use TypeScript, which I understood, and I should be using TypeScript on my projects, but finally I think I sort of understand TypeScript. Again, you can see there's probably a lot of any's in the code because sometimes I just didn't know what type it was, and it took too long to define an interface, but yeah, hopefully I can continue to learn TypeScript as I continue to build this project. And yeah, for the future, I want to support more languages, so you can sort of have a setting and say my preferred language is this, and support more websites. There aren't a lot of available APIs because obviously websites want you to develop on their website so they can make money through ads and those things. And I understood, so I tried to find websites that were pretty like free and open. But hopefully there is different sources online I can find where there's sort of more beginner-oriented problems, even though Reddit one was like quite challenging. So yeah, that's the big thing for the future, is sort of aiming this more at beginners with like the level of problems and having that be a little bit more tailored. But yeah, that's everything for my demo. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for your time. Good luck to everybody who submitted. Thank you so much.